Hello everyone and welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Red Goblin from the Kingpin Build-A-Figure wave. Here we have the figure displayed in the front window. We get his name down there at the bottom, Spider-Man name there, Spider-Man logo on top. We get some very cool artwork here of the Red Goblin on the side, and then on the back we do get a product shot as well as all the other figures needed in this wave to complete the Kingpin Build-A-Figure, and then we have the read-up up at top here. When Norman Osborn merges with the Carnage symbiote, he becomes the villainous Red Goblin. And down at the bottom, we do have the UPC code, so you can check with your local retailer to see if they have this in stock. But enough about that, let's get this open and take a look at the Red Goblin. And here he is outside of his packaging, looking, I think, pretty cool, actually. There are a few things that I would have liked to have seen done differently. That tail, for example, would have been cool if it would have been any kind of articulation. Of course, the bendy wire is always the big ask when it comes to stuff like this, but even having some articulation would be kind of cool. Just the ability to pivot it around. You don't even get that for it. This figure is coming in when standing straight up at about 6.5 inches tall, which puts him at about 16.5 centimeters to the top of the little cone head that he's got going there. So I think it's cool that we got these figures, though, between him and the symbiote Spider-Man. It's a unique run there at the end of the Legacy series, and I think it's cool that Hasbro gave those to us so soon. He does come with that symbiote pumpkin bomb, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that in closer detail. And he does come with a Build-A-Figure piece for the Kingpin Build-A-Figure, but we're going to look at that when we actually build the Build-A-Figure himself. But let's go ahead first and start with a closer look on the pumpkin bomb, and then we'll get a better look at the Red Goblin. And taking a look at the pumpkin bomb up close, I got it stuck to the end of my X-Acto knife here. And yeah, it's pretty cool looking, I suppose. It definitely looks like a symbiote creation, I will say that for sure. I like the eyes on it, very similar to the symbiote Spider-Man eyes, how it's coming off of the actual pumpkin bomb, so I think that's pretty cool. As far as how it goes in the Red Goblin hand, don't really have any issues there. It just pops right in there, and yeah, it's actually pretty sturdy. You can, as long as you get that thumb around it, you won't have any issues getting it into his hand, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, let's go ahead now and take a look at the rest of the figure. And here we are up close looking at the Red Goblin, and I love the design of the Red Goblin overall. I think it was a unique take on a classic character, especially kind of merging two classic Spider-Man villains. And I'm just not sure how well that translated into this head sculpt. I feel like we would have been better with maybe an open mouth or just a more menacing look. He just looks very, I don't know, calm here. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's conveying a whole lot of emotion to me. But it's very cool looking. I mean, there's a lot going on with it. Just the overall sculpt work, I think, came out really cool. I love that we get the big cone head style there to sort of represent his hood. And I just think that was well done. I just think we could have gotten a more fierce looking face design or face sculpt out of it. And this bottom jaw piece, they are typically separate, and with it being this soft plastic, you could have just had them paint that with it open, and it would have done a lot more, or glue it rather with it opened. I think that might have been just better looking to me, but looking at the rest of the figure, we get something very similar to what we've seen with Carnage. It's a little bit more defined where the black is more centrally located and then just coming out versus just lines going in any direction. But looking at things like the tendrils coming off and, of course, this back piece, I mean, that's all directly from the Carnage design. So, and then we get the open hand with the claws on it. And again, the black just being more centrally located and working its way out as opposed to just being more chaotic. And then, of course, you do have this tail. And like I said, I wish we just had some sort of articulation, even if it was just something like what we got with Sauron, where we could move it up and down and rotate it. But instead, it's just glued right in place and comes right down there. And yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. I mean, the design of the tail looks fine, and it is flexible, but it's not going to hold any position. Maybe if you heat it up, it might hold a shape, but I don't know. And it does get harder to flex up here as it gets thicker, so probably not. And then down here at the boot, same thing. We get those tendrils coming out. and then we get the more menacing monster feet. So, I mean, it is still a cool design, though. Looking at the articulation, you do have a head that can go side to side without issue. He can look down quite a ways, actually, and same thing, he can look up very far. You have arms that come up. Yep, not bad. Full rotation. You do have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then you do have a rotation and hinge on each hand. He's got a pretty decent ab crunch there, looking forward and back. He does have waist rotation, and actually it seems really loose on this one. He has legs that can't really come apart too far. He can kick forward almost straight out. That's not bad. Backwards, almost not at all. Upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, a boot cut, and then he does have hinge and ankle pivot, and as I mentioned, nothing on the tail. And here is Red Goblin standing next to Carnage, and you can see with the exception of these arm tendrils looking like, I think they're probably the same, but they just in the packaging maybe got warped. You can see that we have the same tendril piece that we talked about for the back, and then on the legs you can see that they are clearly the same tendril design. So, it's a reuse of that Bucky Cat mold and then even those Carnage tendril parts, but I don't know, it's still done pretty well. I really wish we would have gotten a alternate head for a Norman Osborn, just because I would love to have a Norman Osborn head sculpt, but oh well. And finally, we have all the figures in this wave standing next to each other, starting at the left with Puma, followed by Black Cat, Silver Sable, the Kingpin Build-A-Figure, Night Thrasher, the Six-Armed Spider-Man, the Symbiote Spider-Man, and Red Goblin. And that about does it for this review, everyone. So overall, I think it was pretty cool that Hasbro did give us a new take on an old villain, especially one that happened so recently in a storyline. And I do like that Hasbro gave us both the symbiote suit Spider-Man and Red Goblin in the same wave, so that way we can have both of those figures from that storyline displayed together. But with this figure, like I said, the face, for him being such a psychotic villain in that storyline, just looks too, I don't know, just expressionless. It's a blank stare to me. So I kind of wish we would have had a little bit different design on the head sculpt. But otherwise, like I said, it is cool, and I am happy to get it. So with that being said, though, that is it for this review. If you like the review, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more content just like this. And aside from that, thanks for watching my video, and have a great day.